This video is on what if Naruto was banished and became an emperor part 7. The like goal for this what if is 39 likes. Sooner like goal is meets sooner I will upload the next part for this what if. If you enjoy this what if, don't forget to like, comment and subscribe. Disclaimer, I don't own Naruto nor this fanfic. Western United Empire. It was now the dead of night in the capital, and though it was late, the streets were still bustling with people. The nightlife in the capital was one of its best traits. There were thousands of people in the streets as they made their way to the nightlife district of the capital. The countless number of bars and clubs could hold hundreds of people in them at a time. The biggest of these clubs was Jiraiya's Bunta Lounge. The place is inspired by Game Bunta himself and was modeled after Jiraiya's personal summon. The Bunta Lounge is considered to be one of the must-go places for tourists. The club is huge as it is 5 stories tall. The first floor has the dance floor and bar area. There are 2 sets of bars on either side of the dance floor. The second floor has a Yukihira's, which is a favorite for people to eat after a long night of partying or even to get more energy. It also overlooks the dance floor. The third floor consists of the private lounges that the club offers. Usually, these lounges are reserved for VIPs or other important figures looking for a good time. It usually costs about 1,000 ryo to reserve a private lounge, but it is worth it as it comes with personal food and drink services. The fourth floor is in Kuka Tactics Superstore. This store sells not only all of Jiraiya's Kuka Tactics books but also other merchandise that was created by Jiraiya. It's Disneyland for perverts. The 5th floor is the offices of Jiraiya and other employees. Jiraiya's office is quite large, having a few bedrooms, bathrooms, a kitchen, and a living area. It's a place where he can work and feel comfortable. The Hyuga Shinobi and the Root and Boo who snuck into the West decided to try out the club. They wanted to try and fit in, hoping that it would add to their cover. They were amazed at the pure sight of the place itself. Konoha's nightlife couldn't even compare to this. They hoped when they completed their mission, they would come back here every night. After exploring the lounge for an hour or 2, they decided it was time. Ironically, the 2 groups saw through each other's disguises and decided to team up. Both were surprised at the other being there but felt confident now that they had comrades that were undergoing a mission with them. They walked out of the lounge and made their way to the palace. Unbeknownst to them was a few people following their every move. Emperor's palace. They snuck past some of the palace guards, who were ordered to not notice them, and made their way to the palace. There, they decided to go their separate ways and move on to their respective assignments. They noticed that the palace was relatively empty. Sai had remembered the last time they were there, that there were samurai guards all over the palace. In fact, earlier that day, Euphemia had sent home most of the guards from their duties. She had not heard about the Konoha Shinobi entering yet and decided to give the guards some time off. It was a slow day and there really wasn't much to do. However, once word about the trespassers got to her, she decided to completely empty the palace. Only Walter, Lelouch, and Resist Scarlet were left. Though she was advised to leave by Lelouch, she refused. She knew that no harm would come to her and that she would be perfectly safe. She mentioned that it was her house and that if anyone tried to break in, then they would be slaughtered without warning. Lelouch decided not to argue and let the situation be. Euphemia seemed to have an idea up her sleeve and was calling inaudible, something that she had started to pick up from her husband. Nunnally, on the other hand, was not given the choice. She was moved to one of their smaller homes on the other side of the village. She went with Cornelia, Colin, and Hiei. Hinata was not told about the situation because they didn't want to cause her any alarm. Though, Lelouch had Yoko Kurama on guard for her. They then went on with business as usual, not causing any alarm. The Root and Boo led by Sai had made their way through an open window on the 2nd floor of the palace. They couldn't believe how unguarded the place was. Sai felt uneasy about it but decided to carry on the mission. They didn't really know where they were going and entered a long hallway. As they traveled down, they were careful not to make any noise. As they got to the end of it, they ran into some trouble. Lelouch spotted them on his way to bed. Walter was behind him as the root Anbu took a defensive stance. Lelouch just shook his head. You guys have to be the stupidest enemy we've faced so far. You literally listened to nothing Naruto said. He's going to love this. Walter, I'm off to bed. You can take care of this. Make sure to keep one alive. Oh, and make sure to not get blood on the walls. Yuffie will be very upset about that, Lelouch said as he made his way to his room. Walter nodded and bowed as he turned to the Konoha Shinobi. Sigh, who is this guy? One of the root members asked. He's just their ordinary butler. There isn't anything special about him, Sai said as Walter smiled. Why, I am disappointed to hear that, Sai. I thought I was very polite the last time you were here, Walter said. Shut it, Grandpa. Hurry up. Let's finish this guy and continue the mission, another root Anbu said. Before he could even take another step, the Anbu was cut into 3 pieces. He never even saw what hit him, literally. His blood spattered everywhere. It got on not only the walls but also on the nice carpet. Walter just shook his head in disappointment. You see, if you didn't show up, I wouldn't have to clean this mess, he said. The other root members took their stands as Walter started to dance his wires around from his hands. They were in a hallway, which didn't give much space for them to move around. Another member was struck down as the Anbu were curious as to how they were being attacked. They couldn't see the microfilament wires coming from Walter's hands. They tried to back out from the hallway, but Walter wouldn't let them get away that easily. He pulled them back and let loose his wires. The group was easily struck down, but Walter made sure to leave Sai alive. Sai tried to give up and hoped that the butler would show him some mercy. However, Walter was having none of it. He cut off both of Sai's arms and the Konoha Anbu screamed in pain. He was eventually tied up and knocked out by Walter, who lamented at his new predicament. Having to wash the floors and walls now of the root Anbu blood, it would be a very long night for him. Meanwhile, the Hyuga members were not having a better time. Their orders were originally to bring Hinata back home alive. However, they took it upon themselves and added that if she resisted, then they would kill her to ensure that the Byakugan didn't fall into the wrong hands. They were exploring the downstairs of the palace on the opposite wing of where Naruto and his family slept. They weren't sure if Hinata was even in the building, but decided to try. They used their Byakugan and spotted a familiar chakra signature. They assumed it was Hinata. They then ran into a red-headed man, who seemed to be guarding the corridor that led to some rooms. The Hyuga assumed that Hinata had to be in one of them. I see the fun has just arrived, Kurama said as he observed the Hyugas. They didn't look like much to him. They Hyuga observed him, noticing that he carried just a rose with him. They thought he would be easy. Either you show us where Hinata Hyuga is or move aside. We will not ask again. If you do not comply, we will use force, the leader of the group said, which made Kurama laugh almost manically. As if these imbeciles could do anything to him. Save your breath, Hyuga. If you want me, come and get me, Hinata said, coming out of her room and standing beside Kurama. The Yoko was very surprised at this. He thought she was asleep and that he would handle things on his own. Hinata had heard the commotion outside and used her Byakugan to look through the walls. She noticed that it was Hyuga clan members in the palace. Something didn't seem right, so she decided to act. Kurama was impressed at the girl's confidence. He smiled at her, though deep down he wondered if this was okay to let her do this with him. Hinata Hyuga, you have been ordered by the elders of the Hyuga clan to return to Konoha immediately. You are to be wedded to Sasuke under the order of the Clan Restoration Act. If you do not comply, we will have to use force, the leader explained, which this time made Hinata laugh. As I said before, if you want me to return, you will have to make me, Hinata said as she readied herself for battle. The Hyuga was hesitant at first but realized that they couldn't fail their mission. They took their gentle fist stance and went on the offensive. They split up, hoping to overcome their opponents with their numbers. The 3 to face Kurama, however, were very unlucky. They were easily dispatched with his thorn whip and were cut into tiny pieces. Walter would have a lot more cleaning to do. Hinata, on the other hand, was having some success but a bit of trouble as well. She had managed to knock out one of the Hyuga members. However, the leader of the group and another were giving her a bit of a hard time. She retreated into the corridor, hoping the small space would be to her advantage and prevent the two Hyuga from teaming up on her. It seemed to work, and while she held her own, she was still a bit outmatched. Luckily, Kurama arrived just in time to pull one of them off of her. While Kurama dealt with him, Hinata focused on a leader. Hinata was able to hold her own against the leader, which caused him to get frustrated. He pulled out a kunai. It was dripping with some type of liquid, but Hinata hardly noticed it. She pulled out a kunai as well, and they continued their fight. The leader was able to get some slashes onto Hinata which injured her, but she was able to continue the fight for a few moments. However, Hinata started to notice that her chakra was shutting down. She was getting sluggish and was losing her strength. She dropped down to a knee, which gave the leader an opening to land a kick which made Hinata drop her kunai. The kick forced her back and she had trouble getting up. Her body was now very weak and she was starting to fade in and out of consciousness. She stumbled as she stood up, escaping to her room for some cover. The leader followed her and cornered her. She used the dresser in her room as leverage to regain her balance. She was doing everything she could to try and defend herself. With the leader closing in, Hinata found another kunai on her dresser. She put some chakra into it so that she would have a fighting chance of defending herself. She swung wildly, trying to keep the leader back. She wasted the last of her energy and dropped down to the floor. She was fading in and out of consciousness now. Though her vision was blurry, she could see the Hyuga ready to give the final blow. She tried to cry out for Kurama, but she didn't have a voice. She prayed to Kami that this wouldn't be the end, that she wouldn't be separated from Naruto so quickly. Before she closed her eyes, however, a bright flash appeared before her. She couldn't even look up but knew it had to be him. Naruto-kun, she thought as she finally passed out. Naruto had arrived in Kubai chakra mode and he was pissed. He noticed that Hinata had put some chakra into a Hiraishin kunai that he had left for her. Every person who lived in the palace had one. He had just forgotten to mention it to Hinata. He appeared before the leader in Hinata's room. The leader trembled in fear as he saw Naruto. The emperor immediately charged a Rasengan into the leader which killed him instantly. He stepped outside to see Kurama finishing off the last Hyuga intruder. The Yoko immediately ran to Naruto and slightly bowed. Naruto yelled for his wife and brother-in-law. His yell was heard throughout the entire palace. Euphemia, Riza Scarlet, Lelouch, and Walter rushed to where Naruto was. He did not have a happy look on his face. Euphemia tried to not make eye contact, but she could feel Naruto's initial gaze directed at her. Walter, get her to Chopper immediately. Kurama, you and Riza go and wake up Hiroshinen. He has some work to do with Sai. Naruto ordered as the butler picked Hinata up and ran as fast as he could to the hospital. I don't get paid enough to do this job, the butler thought as he dashed away with Kurama and Riza in tow. Naruto then directed his attention to his wife and brother-in-law. He was still in Kubai chakra mode. Now somebody better give me a damn good reason on why this house is nearly empty, yet there are dead bodies here and in the other wing. Naruto started as Euphemia stepped forward to explain. Dear, I was only, she started when she was cut off. Naruto raised his hand. Though he wanted an answer, any explanation he got would have only made him more pissed. He needed some time to cool off. You two better call everyone right now and clean this shit up. I will be back first thing in the morning and this place better be the way it was when I left. Am I clear? Naruto said as Euphemia and Lelouch just nodded. He then shined away, which made Euphemia and Lelouch scramble to clean up the mess. The next morning the palace was spotless. Euphemia and Lelouch spent the entire night cleaning up. They got anyone who would wake up to help them. It was the first time that they actually feared Naruto and what he would do. He was unpredictable and a serious situation like this was something they were not used to. As promised, Naruto returned home first thing in the morning with his special guard. He had gotten the alliance with Sina and was pleased with it. Yet, now he would have to deal with an even more serious matter. The first thing he did was go to Jiraiya. Though the Toad-san managed to remove the mark on Sai's tongue, the Anbu member was not speaking. He wanted them to kill him, in order for him to keep the secrets he kept from getting into the wrong hands. You sure you want to do it the hard way, Sai? Naruto asked as Sai was very adamant about it. Do your worst, Naruto. You will never get anything out of me, said retorted back. Yeah, we'll see about that, Naruto said as Alucard entered the room. Sai's face immediately changed from that of confidence to fear. It took Alucard less than a few minutes to get Sai to speak, and did he speak? He told Naruto everything he wanted to know and then some. Naruto was very pleased with the outcome. You just wanted to do it the hard way, huh? Man, if only you weren't brainwashed by that old man, then you wouldn't be in this mess. We could have been the best of friends. Oh well, sometimes you can't help it. Maybe in another lifetime, we can be friends, Naruto said as Sai couldn't even look him in the eye. Naruto exited as both Alucard and Jiraiya followed. I would like to mention, Naruto, that the old man that was here with them also has some interesting things about him. Naruto perked up at this and he didn't like where it was going. The old man isn't as handicapped as it seems. He has a Sharingan in his left eye and many others on his arm. It also seems that his arm comes from your first Hokage's cells. Though I don't think he can use his abilities, it gives him great regenerative abilities, Alucard explained. Sharingans? But how? Jiraiya asked. Beats me, but there are plenty of them embedded into him. I think that's why he keeps himself bandaged up. To protect his little secret, Alucard said. Naruto was starting to fume. Why are you only telling me this now? Why didn't you tell me when they were here? He asked. It was not my place. I thought you would be able to figure it out, Alucard retorted. That isn't your place. That's your fucking job, Naruto screamed as the vampire just held his hand up as a concession. Sometimes if you want things done, you just have to do them yourself, Alucard said as he walked away. Though he was very loyal to Naruto, Alucard wanted to teach the young emperor that nothing is ever given to him just because he's the most powerful figure on the planet. Also, being a free spirit like Naruto, Alucard wanted to see what course of action the emperor would take next. Naruto, on the other hand, was not happy at all. He decided he would go to Chopper to check on Hinata's status. It couldn't get much worse than what had already transpired earlier. Western Empire Hospital. What do you mean she's dying? Naruto asked Chopper. Yup, the situation could get much worse. Euphemia, Lelouch, Nunnally, Ichi, Taki, Ayam, and Mayu met Naruto and Jiraiya at the hospital. It means just that, Naruto. She has been infected with some type of poison. The slashes she received shows evidence of a large amount of poison entering her body, Chopper said as Naruto looked puzzled. So why can't you just give her an antidote or take the poison out of her? Naruto asked. It's not that simple, Naruto. Whatever this poison is, it's attacking her chakra system. Now I am not familiar with the chakra system like you. I need to do my research on it to ensure that I'm not endangering her life. If I were to operate and make one little mistake, she could die, Chopper explained. What about Trafalgar? Can we recall him from his assignment? Naruto asked. Chopper shook his head. No can do. He would be at least a week's journey away, and that's a generous prediction, Chopper responded. How long does she have? Naruto asked. I give her about a week, maybe a little bit more if I can find some type of antidote. I can slow down the process, but I won't be able to fully cure her. I placed her in a medically induced coma for now. She will wake in a couple of days. However, after those couple of days, it's anybody's guess as to what will happen to her. I will do all I can, but it's going to take a miracle to save her. If you know anyone that can help, I highly recommend you send them to me. I'll need all the help I can get with this one, Chopper said as he returned to his studies. Naruto just took a step back to think over the situation. Meanwhile, during this entire ordeal, Jiraiya wanted to tell Naruto he told him so. Letting the Hyuga girl stay was a mistake, yet Naruto did it anyways. He went against common sense and look where it got everyone. However, He wouldn't be the one to tell Naruto that, knowing that Naruto would have some kind of plan. Jiraiya eyed his godson, who was in deep thought. Naruto snapped out of it as he looked at his godfather. "You want to say I told you so, huh?" Naruto asked as Jiraiya just shrugged. "That will not help our current situation. You got something on your mind, Gaki? If you do, you better hurry or your friend here will not have much more time on this earth," Jiraiya said as Naruto nodded. The young emperor walked out of the room and made his way back to the palace to think. A few hours later, Euphemia carefully entered the room. Naruto was sitting near the window, looking out at the capital. He would sometimes do this when he wanted to think. He didn't even notice Euphemia enter the room until she wrapped her arms around his chest. She gave him a quick peck on the cheek and dragged him into bed. It was around noon, yet both Emperor and Empress already felt that they had gone through a full day's worth of work. They just laid there, staring at the ceiling. Naruto was not in a talking mood and really wanted to be alone. However, he could not refuse his wife, especially after yelling at her last night. "I'm sorry Yuffie about last night. I did not mean to yell at you like that," Naruto said, turning to his wife. She placed a hand on his cheek as she kissed him on the lips. "I should be the one apologizing, Naruto. I'm the one that gave the order to have the palace relatively empty. I thought that we could handle it. I know I broke protocol, but I just had this feeling that everything would be okay, and now it's not because Hinata is dying and I put everyone in such a shitty situation," she said as Naruto took her hand and kissed her palm to calm her down. "Do not worry, Yuffie. She will pull through. Besides, I had been thinking for a while now and I think I have a possible solution to help her," Naruto said as Euphemia perked up a little at this. "But how? You're not a doctor," she said. "I'm not, but my Bachan is. She knows the chakra system better than anyone. She could probably heal Hinata in no time. It's just, I'm not sure where I would find her. It has been a while since I've last seen her and I'm not sure how happy she'll be to see me," Naruto said as he looked a little down. "I'm sure if she's family she will be more than happy. You have to take that chance, dear," Euphemia said as she lifted Naruto's chin up a bit. "I know. It's just, I don't know where to start. No one has seen or heard from her in over 6 years. Not even Jiraiya has been in contact with her and he practically drools over her all the time," Naruto said as the situation was getting even more complicated the more he thought of it. "Dear, we have the best spy network on the planet. I'm sure we will find her. However, you have to go immediately, because getting her here soon will be a great help for Chopper," Euphemia said as Naruto agreed. However, he mentioned that there was one thing he needed to do before he set out to find Tsunade. Later that evening, Konoha Hayashi Hyuga was pacing the halls of the Hyuga compound. He was nervous. He hadn't slept in days. The group that the elders had sent should have gotten to the west by now. He didn't know if they were killed immediately or managed to slip past Naruto's guards and potentially harm Hinata. There was this uneasy feeling that Hayashi felt, especially after his daughter decided to stay west. After Kakashi told him of Naruto's plans, he almost wanted to accept it immediately. He too was getting tired of the village and his clan. He had wondered when all of this corruption started to fill the once powerful village. As he was pacing, he heard the sound of a branch snapping. He found it odd, seeing as though it was a calm evening. It was really dark tonight, especially with the moon hiding behind the thick clouds that were starting room over Konoha. Before he knew it, Hayashi was whisked away in a flash. He had no time to react as he was started to get hit left and right from an unknown assailant. He tried to get out of the stranger's grip, but it was to no avail. Only when his captor opened his mouth, did he know who it was. "Really? Your own daughter Hayashi? You're so into keeping your bullshit clan respected that you would even harm your own daughter?" Naruto said as Hayashi's worst fears had been realized. "No. In Naruto please let me explain," he said, struggling in the Jinshu Uriki's grip. "You think I'm going to let you explain what you did to Hinata? You're out of your damn mind, old man. Naruto snapped back as he broke Hayashi's arm at the elbow. The Hyuga leader screamed in pain, though no one would be hearing them. And Naruto, please. I would never harm Hinata. She's my daughter. I would never stoop so low to harm her, Hayashi said as he kept struggling to break free. Do not lie to me, Hayashi. I hope you realize I know when someone is lying to me or not, Naruto retorted. It's true, Naruto. It was the elders who ordered it. I tried to stop them, but I have no control over my clan anymore, Hayashi squeaked out as the pain was starting to take its toll on his body. He was starting to go in and out of consciousness. Naruto realized that the old man was telling the truth and decided to put the Hyuga out of his misery for the moment. He knocked him out and returned him to his room. He would let him deal with his injuries later. Plus, he had a couple more places to visit. Koharu was visiting Homura to discuss the events that were to take place soon. They both were on edge about the success of the mission they helped put together to take down Naruto in the West. Homura was starting to make some tea when there was a knock at the door. They both wondered who it could be, especially at this time of night. Homura walked over to the door to open it. When he did, he stumbled backward, tripping over his own feet and onto his butt. Koharu wondered what the commotion was and turned around. She nearly fainted at the sight. Naruto was standing at the door, a menacing grin on his face. He looked out, finding two of the elders under the same roof. It would save him the trouble of having to kill them separately. Naruto, Homura managed to squeak out. The elder managed to get to his feet, though he could barely move. Naruto's aura was very powerful. I know you two had a hand in sending that Anbu squad to my house last night. I'm pretty sure I made myself clear when I said that anyone from Konoha who sets foot in my country will be struck down. Well, I see you two decided to not adhere to those threats. So I've decided to take things into my own hands, Naruto said as he quietly closed the door behind him. What are you going to do in Naruto? Koharu asked as she was stuck in fear. What am I going to do? Something I should have done long ago, Naruto said as he threw a kunai at Homura at lightning speed. It hit its mark with complete precision. The kunai impaled the elder right through the head. Homura had no time to react. Naruto then teleported to the kunai, took it out of the elder's head, and then threw it at Koharu. Before it reached her, he teleported to the kunai and grabbed it. He then proceeded to stab her in the chest very slowly. He inched closer to her heart and never took his eyes off of her. Koharu was trembling in fear that she didn't even realize that she was being stabbed. This made Naruto chuckle. Isn't this ironic? The two of you helped vote for my father to become Hokage and now you'll be killed by the son he died to protect and the son that you tried to kill. I wonder what he would think of you two. You can explain all of this to him before you make your way to hell. Now die you old hag, Naruto said as he reached Koharu's heart. He put tremendous force into the kunai and Koharu died instantly, dropping to the floor. Before Naruto left the house, he decided to light it up. He wanted to cover up his tracks just a bit and make the scene look like an accident. He placed both elders on the couch and lit a fire using the tea kettle. When the house went up in flames, the fire division and other rescued personnel came to assist. However, Naruto was long gone by that time. He had one more stop, then he would return home to start his search for Tsunade. When Naruto was done, he teleported back to his bedroom, where Euphemia was fast asleep. He told her to not wait up for him as he didn't know when he would be back. Naruto needed to shower quickly to get the blood off of him. When he was finished, he jumped into bed. He kissed Euphemia on the forehead, which caused the Empress to stir a little. She turned to him and rested her head on his chest. Naruto closed his eyes for a moment and the next thing he knew, he was out. A few hours later Konoha Kakashi was awakened to the news that Homura's house had caught fire. Rescue crews had managed to extinguish the blaze but made a grisling discovery when they found the charred bodies of what looked like Homura and Koharu. The initial report was that the two had forgotten about the tea kettle which somehow caught on fire. It was deemed accidental. Kakashi was very wary about this. Though the two elders were older, they were not incompetent. Well, they were incompetent in doing their jobs, but not in functioning with everyday life. Kakashi wanted a further investigation of the matter. He got to his office, deciding that since he wasn't going to get much more sleep, he might as well start the day with some peace and quiet. However, the peace and quiet only lasted for a few seconds. Danzo kicked the door in, holding a scroll. He looked furious and Kakashi didn't have the slightest clue why. "What can I do for you, Danzo?" The copy nin asked, not happy to see the root leader at all. "I want that boy dead, Kakashi. He needs to pay for his actions. Look what he did to my prized student," Danzo said as Kakashi deduced who the boy Danzo was referring to. Danzo then opened the scroll, which contained Sai's head. The Anbu's face seemed to suggest that he had gone through some excruciating torture before being executed. Sai's face showed pure agony and pain. His tongue was cut out and words like idiot, weak and useless were written on his face. Upon further investigation, Sai's mouth contained a letter. Kakashi took out the letter and started to read it. "Dear Hokage, I regret to inform you that several members of your Hyuga clan and Anbu are dead. They have unfortunately failed in their attempt on not only my life but also of my family's life and the life of one Hyuga Hinata. I believe I made it perfectly clear that I would kill any Konoha shinobi who stepped foot in my country. I see that you have decided to disobey that order. I tried to be diplomatic about the situation, but I see that it was a mistake. Konoha will soon feel the wrath of the United Western Empire. Mark my words, your days are numbered. Sincerely, Uzumaki Naruto, Emperor of the United Western Empire." Kakashi was furious. "You disobeyed a direct order. Now, look where it has gotten us. Naruto is going to destroy this village and many innocent people all because of you and those damn Hyuga." Kakashi spoke to Danzo, who refused to back down. "We were only doing what was best for the village. That demon brat is a threat to not only us but civilization as we know it. He needs to be put down," Danzo answered back. "I think you need to be put down. Naruto only became a threat because of you and the stupid civilian council. You all turned him into the threat. You should be the one blamed for putting us in this mess." Kakashi yelled. "You better be careful with your words, Kakashi. You better know where your loyalties lie. You are a shinobi of Konohagakure. Do not let your feelings for the boy interfere with your job," Danzo snapped back. "You do not get to tell me where my feelings may lie, elder. By the way, you will refer to me as Hokage-sama. As the leader of this village, I have earned that right," Kakashi said. "You have earned nothing. In fact, the village has only grown weak under your guidance. You are not fit to be Hokage any longer. I hereby challenge you, for the title and position of Hokage," Danzo said. "I've had enough of this. Anbu, arrest Elder Shimura for attempts to mutiny against the Hokage," Kakashi ordered as two Anbu appeared out of the shadows. They restrained Danzo and took him away as the elder tried to struggle to break free. "You are making a big mistake, Kakashi," Danzo shouted as the Anbu took him away. Kakashi just sighed. This position only got a lot harder now. He wished that he could just leave and be done with this hellhole of a village. However, he knew he needed to wait for a word from Naruto when they were ready to move forward. He prayed that it would be soon since he couldn't take much more of this shit. The next morning Naruto was awake early. It was only 7 a.m., yet he was already in his office waiting for a specific group of people. He hated waking up at this time, but it needed to be done. A knock came at the door and entered the group he was waiting for. Jiraiya, Ichi, Yuzuki, and Saitama entered Naruto's office. They were handpicked by Naruto to accompany him on his mission to find Tsunade. The four knew the importance of this mission and how much it meant to Naruto to see his friend survive. Jiraiya had mentioned that Tsunade had been last seen frequenting the outskirts of Fire Country near the Oto border. The place was known for its illegal gambling halls and casinos, which made it a haven for someone like Tsunade. Naruto figured that it would be the first place they looked. They would hire a shin to Spring Country, where they would then make the day's trip to the border. Naruto was surprised that Tsunade would even entertain the idea of being that close to Oto. Knowing the threat of Orochimaru and his alliance, Tsunade was taking a big risk. The group immediately set off for Spring Country. They hire a shrine there and started their journey. They bypassed Konoha scouts and other enemy parties that may have been on the lookout for them. When they got to their destination, it was relatively late. It was about 2 or 3 in the morning, yet the casinos were booming with business. Naruto figured that he would send out some clones and track her. Until then, they were to wait for any word back. They booked a room for the evening and decided to get some rest. After a few hours, the sun was just about rising. A loud booming sound could be heard coming a few miles away. This woke the group as they looked outside to see what was going on. A large dust cloud could be seen swirling into the air. Whatever was happening had to be of epic proportions. Naruto felt a clone disperse and immediately knew that it was Tsunade. Naruto told the group that he had found her and they needed to move quickly. They got to a large open field, where Tsunade seemed to be in a bit of a bind. She looked a little beat up as she stood on Katsu's head. Shizune was laying down next to her unconscious. Tsunade was using a smaller Katsu to heal some of her wounds. Across from her, stood a large, purple snake. On top of the snake's head, stood Orochimaru, who was grinning from ear to ear. It looked like he had gained a bit of an upper hand in the battle. Tsunade, it is futile to keep on fighting me. Join me and together I can give you everything you ever wanted in this world, the snake Sannin was telling her. As if I would ever join you. I am not a pawn in whatever game you're playing, or Orochimaru, Tsunade snapped back. Now Tsunade, don't be like that. I know that you still haven't found young Naruto yet. I, on the other hand, know where he is at this very moment. If you join me, I can take you to him. I'm sure he'll be very happy to see the person who banished him from Konoha, Orochimaru chastised. I swear if you have done anything to him, I will end you, Tsunade threatened as Orochimaru manically chuckled. Well, it looks like you'll just have to find out, Orochimaru said as Manda swooped into attack. He wrapped himself around Katsu and squeezed. Katsu then exploded into tiny versions of herself to get out of the hold. Tsunade tried to punch Manda, but the snake summons then surfaced underground. Orochimaru appeared behind her and kicked her. She managed to just deflect the kick, but she was still sent flying. Manda then appeared from underground and was prepared to attack. As Tsunade braced herself, she heard the loud crashing of the snake as its head struck the ground. She opened her eyes to see that a danto was sticking into Manda's head. She then saw the person she had been looking for these past 6 years on top of it, grinning at her. Naruto had swooped into action. He had summoned Gamakiki and used his tanto to impale Manda. He then jumped down to greet his Bachan. And Naruto? Tsunade wondered. Oh, you Bachan. Long time no see, Naruto said as he smiled at her. He then turned his attention to Orochimaru, who was equally as surprised as Tsunade when Naruto made his appearance. Well, I see an unexpected visitor has arrived, Orochimaru said as Naruto confronted him. I could say the same thing, Naruto replied. So, Orochimaru started, but Naruto didn't give the snake any time to finish his sentence. He threw a kunai at him and attacked quickly. Orochimaru barely had time to react and dodge the kunai. He jumped to the side, only to be met by a cage bunshin. He kicked Orochimaru, sending the salmon back Naruto's way. He managed to substitute himself and leapt back over to Manda. He realized that Naruto had gotten strong, a lot stronger from before. He was very interested now in how this would play into his plans. They fought for another 10 minutes, with Naruto gaining the upper hand, but only by a little. Orochimaru was fighting on the defensive and was trying to avoid the knockout hit. Naruto was about to charge up a Rasengan to finish him off when the sounds of what seemed like clapping could be heard. Clap, clap, clap. It was a slow, condescending clap. Everyone turned to see the new figure on the battlefield. The figure had an orange spiral mask on and donned the Akatsuki cloak. Naruto's group immediately got in guard, as they noticed that the figure was a member of the Akatsuki. Oi, Gaki. I have a bad feeling about this person. I think he may be the one who was controlling me when I attacked Konoha, Kurama said from inside. Naruto immediately changed targets as he observed the person. Well, Well, it seems like you've made quite a scene here, the figure said. This gave ample time for Orochimaru to ditch the scene, getting the tendo out of Manda, and jumping in his mouth. He seemed to know who the person was and was in no condition to even try and fight him. Manda burrowed underground and they left the scene. Back to the figure, he kept walking towards the group. Naruto activated his Kyuubi chakra mode as the figure stopped. He's controlling the Kyuubi, isn't he? This is very interesting, he thought. Who are you? Jiraiya asked as the figure just laughed. I am, whoever you want me to be, he replied. Naruto was on him immediately and tried to punch the figure, only to pass right through him. He was stunned that this happened and blocked the figure's attempt to punch back. He jumped back to the group as the figure wagged a finger at him. Gaki. It's him. He is the one that controlled me. He is the one that released me from your mother, Kurama said with confidence. Naruto straightened his posture at this, as the figure saw right through him. So has the beast told you who I am? I see by your reaction that he's told you all about me, the person said. It was you. You were the one that my father fought. You were the one that controlled the Kyuubi the night I was born, Naruto replied, which shocked both Jiraiya and Tsunade. Yes, it was I. Actually, I guess since now you know who I am, let me properly introduce myself, the figure said as he took off his mask. The right side of his face had scars on it. He had a Sharingan in his right eye as well. His left eye possessed the Rinnegan. His hair was a bit long and spiky. My name is Uchiha Obito, the most powerful Uchiha the world will ever see, he said as Jiraiya and Ichi were shocked by this. Obito? You were Minato's student. It was you this whole time? I thought you were dead? Jiraiya asked. Naruto was growing furious. His father's student was the one that caused all of this. People thought I was dead. However, it seems the will of fire still burns within me, Obito replied with a grin on his face. You are the cause of all of this. You are the one that murdered my parents and put me in this situation. Naruto yelled as Obito shrugged it off. Please spare me the sob story. Your parents killed themselves. If Sensei wasn't so stubborn and had given me what I wanted, they both might still be alive right now, Obito said. After all they did for you, this is how you repaid them? By killing them and trying to harm their son, Jiraiya said. I am not their murderer. That Gaki is. Sensei and Kushina treated me as if I was one of their own and I am forever grateful for that. However, their death is their own fault. They paid with their lives for trying to protect that Gaki. If anything, their own son was the one that killed them, Obito explained, trying to place the blame on everyone else but him. Don't you dare spit on their actions. That's what a parent is supposed to do. They are supposed to protect their child at all costs, even if it means with their life. Tsunade butted in. HMMPH. That is the stupidest thing I have ever heard. Sensei was the Hokage of the village. He was way more important than some child that was just born. He and Kushina could have had other children, but no, they had to go out of their way to protect him, Obito said, pointing at Naruto. Naruto clenched his fist. The person who was responsible for killing his parents was talking down upon them and was making into their fault they were dead. So what you're telling me is that it is my parents' fault for trying to protect me? That they should have just given you the Kyuubi so that you could do whatever you wanted with it? After they treated you like one of their own, you still refuse to acknowledge your actions? Naruto asked as Obito smirked. He thought that the young emperor was starting to finally get it. Exactly. Now you're starting to get it, he said. Naruto shook his head. You have no remorse for my parents' deaths? Naruto asked. Not one bit. Like I said before, they killed themselves. To be honest, if I had to do it over again, I wouldn't change a damn thing, Obito said as he made an evil smile directed right at Naruto. That was the final straw. Naruto leapt into action, littering the area with Hiraishin kunai. It forced Obito to react quickly. However, every attack Naruto made passed right through his opponent. Obito also was putting some good distance between them, always staying outside of Naruto's range. After a while, Naruto grew frustrated. However, he started to see a pattern. He was beginning to figure out how his opponent was working. He finally figured it out and cooked up a plan. He threw his kunai at his opponent at blazing speeds and then jumped at Obito. Obito was prepared for it, ready to use his Kamui. He was about to reach for Naruto when the Emperor disappeared. Naruto appeared on top and had prepared a Rasengan. He tried to attack, but his Rasengan passed right through Obito again. The Yakai realized that this was the same trick that the boy's father had used. He would not fall for it again. Once Naruto passed, Obito caught him and slammed him into the ground, not noticing that Naruto had managed to touch his foot with his palm. Then, Naruto went poof. It was a clone and Obito wondered where the real Naruto went. As he looked around, he saw that the real one hadn't moved an inch from where he was previously standing. Out of nowhere, Saitama appeared next to him and punched him. Obito was sent flying into a rock wall that was nearby. He wondered why he didn't see the bald hero before. As he got up, he saw Yuzuki pointing a finger gun at him. Spirit gun. Yuzuki fired a shot and Obito prepared another Kamui. However, this time, the beam of light connected and hit Obito. The shot went in and out of the Akaya. His right arm had started to melt as he looked perplexed at what just occurred. Isn't Fuinjutsu a great art? I already knew how your abilities worked and it seems that it takes time to recharge that Kamui of yours. However, I've now made that useless. You can't go intangible anymore, Naruto explained with a large grin on his face. Obito was clutching his arm and grunted. He had been overconfident and got outsmarted by Naruto. He clenched his teeth in frustration. He knew that he was outnumbered now and that he was in no shape to fight. However, he realized that Naruto had more potential than he ever realized. This was very interesting to him the more he thought about it. I see you have grown. However, next time, you won't be so lucky, Obito said as he used his Rinnegan to escape the battlefield. Once the coast of him was clear, Naruto attended to Tsunade. She grabbed him in a bear hug, sobbing into his chest. Naruto, I am so sorry. I am sorry I couldn't protect you. Please forgive me. Tsunade begged as Naruto hugged her back. It's okay Bachan. Jiraiya explained everything to me. You don't have to ask for my forgiveness. I know that you tried to do everything to stop my banishment. Words cannot express how grateful I am for that, Naruto replied. However, I need you to come with me to the west. I need your help with something, Naruto said as Tsunade nodded her head. Of course. Anything you need, Tsunade replied as Naruto smiled. Once Shizune regained consciousness, the group shined back to the west. Shizune was so happy to see that Naruto was alive and well. Like her master, she also gave Naruto a large bear hug. Once the group returned to the west, Naruto brought Tsunade to the hospital where everyone seemed to be. Tsunade noticed that both Toki and Ayame were there and was about to ask why they were there, but she was whisked away to meet Chopper. The medical director explained to Tsunade the situation as they went to visit Hinata. Everyone followed as they saw that the former Hyuga heiress was now up. She was a little surprised to see Tsunade there. Oh Tsunade-sama, what are you doing here? Hinata asked a bit confused. Well, I'm just here to see how you're doing Hinata. It has been a while and I think you're due for another checkup, the slug Sanning said. Oh well, Chopper said I was fine. He explained that I just used up a lot of chakra and that I'll be good in the next week, Hinata replied. Actually Hinata, I asked Tsunade to also do a checkup on you. She knows your chakra system better than I so I thought she would give you a more accurate report, Chopper said. Oh okay, that sounds good. Will you be starting now? Hinata asked. If you're up for it, Tsunade said as Hinata nodded. Everyone who wasn't needed in the room was told to leave and go to the waiting area. Everyone prayed that Hinata would make it through. Thank you for watching.